Right now on the Pix 11 News, it's a tragedy on the tracks in Hoboken. We're live on the scene.
You just heard a kaboom.
It was like a nightmare out there.
People are falling on top of each other.
One fatality that we have confirmed. We had 108 injured.
It was going faster than it should have. He went completely through the bumper block, through the depot.
People buried under the concrete.
There were some folks, they were just crying and in shock.
I'm just thankful to be here right now, honestly.
First at 5, tragedy on the rails. You saw it there. During the peak of the morning rush, an NJ transit train plowed through the Hoboken station, killing one person standing on the platform there and injuring over 100 commuters. It was a scene of chaos and a lot of fear as riders ran for safety out of that terminal that is now completely destroyed. Good evening and welcome to the Pix 11 News at 5 tonight. I'm Tamsin Fidel.
And I'm Corey Chambers, live in front of Hoboken Terminal. Now, the scene of what is quite literally a commuter nightmare. You can see behind me here a lot of activity, a lot of agencies here on the scene. In fact, I just heard from some cops behind me, the NTSB is on scene now. Now, you've certainly by now seen some of these pictures. You've even heard probably some of the stories of the chaos, the explosion of concrete, people crawling through windows trying to get out. Well, tonight you certainly also have questions as well. Why was that train going so fast? What about those 108 people who were injured? How are they doing? What about the woman who was on the platform who was killed? What do we know about her? And perhaps even more pressing, if you were a commuter, how are you going to get home tonight? Well, a lot of answers for you from our team of reporters tonight. In fact, if you look behind you right now, you're seeing one answer right now. PATH service is running tonight. We've seen dozens and dozens of people coming up those stairs and coming out. That's one good piece of news. But of course, there's a number of other issues that we'll be getting to tonight. But first, let's start with the very latest. We just got the name of the conductor of, or the engineer, I should say, of that train, Thomas Gallagher. That's the very latest. Let's bring in Mario Diaz with what else we are learning tonight.
And that conductor, that train engineer, Thomas Gallagher, is being very cooperative with authorities, which is something that's very key in this situation, yes, Corey, because the NTSB wants to grab that fresh information and use it to their advantage in this investigation. And an investigation that began shortly after 8:30 this morning here in Hoboken.
You just heard a kaboom. And you could hear it got quiet. Because the first thing you're going to think of terrorists. I'm sorry, this is how I go in this country. I said, my God, somebody blew it up.
What freight train engineer William Blaine heard was the sound of an out-of-control New Jersey transit train that had just plowed through the bumpers on track 5 shortly past 8:30 this morning. Officials say that one person died away from the train on the platform and more than 100 were injured.
Right now, we don't have any reason to believe that there'll be any further fatalities, but again, that's going to be things that are determined by the care and treatment that they're given at the hospital and the severity of the injuries as they came in. But right now, the only fatality we have is the one that we mentioned.
The impact caused massive damage to one of the Northeast Corridor's most important train stations.
We have engineers that are examining the structural integrity of the building now. We have no estimate as to when the terminal will be able to be reopened, except to say that it appears that the PATH terminal, the structural integrity there is fine, and so that PATH trains will be able to use the terminal. As for the New Jersey Transit portion, we don't have an estimate yet on that, and we're going to need some time to do that.
As for the man who will provide NTSB investigators with the most answers, Blaine says it was challenging to find him immediately following the crash.
I think it was a New Jersey Transit official said, where's the engineer? And it's like everybody looked around, I looked around too. And so he walked over and looked up the electrical wire and looked up at the cab. I did the same thing. I walked over, I wasn't too close, but I looked up, you can see his shirt bent over in front of the cab.
For New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, today's event continues a difficult stretch of weeks for the area.
These are difficult times over these past weeks and months between terrorist attacks, natural disasters. We have had our hands full in this country. We've had our hands full in the Northeast.
There is no doubt that this has been a difficult stretch here in the New York City area just in the few weeks that we've seen here of late. But at the same time, it's been challenging for train accidents here. The last few years, we have seen 2 on the Metro North Line that have proven to be extremely fatal. Obviously today, this accident sending more than 100 people to the hospital with 1 death, and a train engineer, Thomas Gallagher, as of this hour, his name being released, the man that everyone is trying to question and identify exactly what took place. I'm going to bring Corey back into the picture here. And Corey, you know, these investigations are never easy because the NTSB is going to come in and do a complete job of detailing every aspect of that train station right now. With video, with camera, and piece together an investigation that could last well into about 18 to 24 months.
You know, you mentioned some of the past train tragedies that we've seen in our area. It seems like we've seen far too many in just a matter of years. And the part of the conversation you're hearing tonight, positive train control. You're going to hear that again and again and again throughout the coming days as the talk is, hey, why didn't these trains have it? I know they're supposed to have it. The deadlines have been pushed back for years after years after years. Maybe it's time to get it done.
2 answers to that.
Yeah.
Money and the delays that you mentioned. This is something that should have been implemented. It has not been thus far.
Well, it's going to happen. And certainly this is going to push it that way. Mario, thank you so much for that. Well, we were talking, of course, about the conductor. He is being cooperative. He is injured tonight. He is one of many injured, 108. That's the number. Now, most of those injured people have gone to 2 hospitals here in the area, Hoboken University Medical Center and Jersey City Medical Center. Now, Jersey City Medical Center, that is North Jersey's trauma center, and that fact may have saved a lot of lives. Let me go out live there to James Ford, who's been following the story there and following just the tremendous response because of all those injured people coming in at once. James.
And yes, often, Corey, when we hear the word casualty, we first think of death. Well, that also refers to, especially in emergency medical situations, refers to any significant injury. And today is called a mass casualty emergency. And at trauma centers like this, such incidents are often prepared for, they're practiced, they're rehearsed. But today, it was all too real. In they came, one after another, ambulances at the emergency departments of Hoboken University Medical Center and Jersey City Medical Center. But as you see, most of the patients were alert and conscious, even though they were hurt.
Bumps, bruises, some walking wounded, some lacerations, and fractures as well.
We got off the train. We waited around for a little bit. The people that had that were bleeding, that had serious injuries, they were taken care of immediately, and we got on a bus and they brought us over to Jersey City Medical Center.
Nubria Mitchell did not want her face shown, but she did show her patient ID bracelet to show everyone she's okay. She calls it miraculous, considering where she was when the train hit.
The front car, and the train never slowed down. We just completely crashed. We saw it, but there wasn't anything that we can do. We just had to kind of brace ourselves, really.
23 people were treated at Hoboken University Medical Center, none in serious condition. All but 1 were released. Here at Jersey City Medical Center, doctors treated 66 people. 53 of them were like this man, who only gave his first name, Miguel. He said he was walking in the station when the train hit. He was admitted to the hospital as the so-called walking wounded.
They set up a triage for us in the cafeteria, and they took care of us as soon as possible.
You heard right. Here in the main cafe, a triage center was set up. All but 13 people were treated and then released here. Those 13 will remain here. They include 3 people who were listed earlier in very serious condition. It's unconfirmed, but apparently the train's engineer is among that number. This was bad, but thanks to significant preparation, it was not worse.
This is something that we train for. Emergency management and a full incident command is fully something that we do at least once a month.
Still, though, 1 passenger did not make it. At least 1 survivor puts that in perspective.
There was somebody that lost their life. I'm just so grateful to be alive. God is good.
So 1 person admitted to the hospital up in Hoboken, and those 13 admitted here. All, despite a wide range of injuries, are expected to recover. Reporting live from Jersey City Medical Center, I'm James Ford, Pix 11 News.
All right, James, thank you so much. So much to cover, so many injuries and so many remarkable stories, really, to come out of this tragedy today. After she left the hospital, we spoke to one of the accident victims who is 5 months pregnant.
I'm dizzy, I'm lightheaded. I got staples in my head. The baby's fine, but the ceiling of the train fell on my head. We couldn't see behind us. The train was completely down behind us. The ceiling of the train was down behind us. There was still stuff falling. So a man in front of me pushed the ceiling up a little and then kind of climbed behind me and helped me out the window.
All right, so many people we talked to today said that boom of this train crashing sounded like a bomb had gone off. Pix 11's Christy Duffy spoke to a number of eyewitnesses throughout the day and also passengers who experienced the crash, including a train engineer who witnessed the woman who was tragically killed today. Hi, Christy.
Hi, Tamsin. Well, we spoke to people as they poured out of the train station here today, those, of course, who were not hurt and who were able to tell us a little bit about what they heard and saw. And the first thing they told us was they described the seconds just before impact. And in their words, it was like nails on a chalkboard. Metal on metal is what they said. And then, of course, that huge bang, which many thought was a bomb going off. And when people stood up, looked around, realized what had happened and saw blood, concrete, and steel scattered all around them, it's not surprising that they initially thought this was an explosion.
At first, we heard a loud boom, and the lights kind of flickered. And the ticket agent said to me, "What's going on?" At that point, I said, "I'm not sure." I ran out, and that's when I realized it wasn't, it was the train.
Passengers on board the train said they were tossed forward.
The people in the train car were panicking because I believe those people in the front were very badly injured. So they started yelling, I guess, once they saw the blood.
By all accounts, there was no warning.
It did not derail. It basically just ran. It didn't stop. It ran into the terminal, and it appeared to not stop.
I don't remember any screeching. Again, there could have been, but in that moment when you're trying to help injured people, or like when we felt the train slamming or sliding into the station, we weren't necessarily, we just wanted to make sure that everyone that we could help was standing on their feet or that we could get them out of harm's way.
Many we spoke to who were not hurt rushed forward to help others, and we heard that again and again from eyewitnesses today. Of course, still don't know a cause tonight, but one thing is for sure, the impact inside the train station was disastrous. Live in Hoboken, Christy Duffy, Pix 11 News.
It was, Christy, but so many stories of people helping other people, even Governor Christie commenting about it earlier today. All right, let's talk about what all this means with regard to getting around. We have been getting updates throughout the day for you. Marissa Torres joining us live in the traffic center with a look at what is next. Hi, Marissa.
Hey, Tamsin. Yeah, we've been following this all morning long, and as you can imagine, this has been a travel nightmare for our New Jersey commuters, and it's only going to continue into those evening hours, even stretching into tomorrow morning. But as of now, these are the changes you do need to be aware of. So New Jersey Transit and Hudson Bergen Light Rail service remain suspended into and out of Hoboken. Path service was restored just a little while ago into and out of Hoboken. However, New York Waterway service also remains suspended into and out of Hoboken South. So several changes to make note of as you get your journey home started this evening. Maine, Bergen, Pascack Valley, Port Jervis lines, you remain on a modified weekend schedule, and that's to and from Secaucus Junction. As for shuttle bus service, that is being provided from Hoboken to Secaucus Junction. That is running on a load-to-go basis, which means I would expect it to be very busy and cramped on those buses this evening. Morrison, Essex, Gladstone, Montclair, Boonton. What you can expect is limited service for points west of Montclair State University and then west of Dover. Also, Northeast Corridor, New Jersey Coastline, Raritan Valley, and Midtown Direct. You are going to be running on a normal weekday schedule. Lots of changes to make note of. The one thing that we do know is that private buses, New Jersey buses, as well as New York Waterway are cross-honoring for any of our New Jersey Transit riders. Give yourself additional time. It's only going to continue. We'll have another check on what else you can expect coming up at 5:30. In the meantime, back over to you, Tamsin.
Definitely a difficult few days. Marissa, thanks. We'll continue to check in. Meanwhile, we are going to have continuing coverage of our Pix 11 News app and also on our website, pix11.com. So keep it there. So more to come on the Pix 11 News at 5 tonight. Mr. G, back with a look at the forecast. There is some rain on the way. Plus, you might remember getting a push alert on your phone after the bombing in Chelsea. Well, it didn't give us a lot of information, but now some big changes are on the way. Details on the new alert system and our team coverage of the train crash in Hoboken continues. Corey.
Yeah, you know, we're here in Hoboken, and of course, two very different stories. Marissa touched on this a bit. You look behind me, and you see people coming home after a long day of work, regular pass service there. But you look to the left, you see this investigation after this deadly and just destructive crash today. We, of course, getting into all the angles with team coverage ahead.